Tiberius Gracchus. Ever heard of this lad? Probably not. He was an ambitious Roman politician who got himself killed because he wanted a land reform. His date of death marks the beginning of the end of the Roman Republic. Let's see why. Hi, my name is Sebastian, and these are mistakes that changed the world. Tiberius Gracchus was born into Rome's gilded cage. Heir to a legacy forged in the crucible of war, his grandfather was the legendary Scipio Africanus, the conqueror of Carthage and its famous general Hannibal Barca. His family was a byword for wealth, power, and prestige. With a lineage that shimmered like gold, the world seemed to lie at young Tiberius's feet. Tiberius Gracchus first tasted the bitter reality of Roman politics during the tumultuous Numantine War in Hispania in 137 BC. Serving as quaestor, chief quartermaster, and financial officer to his brother-in-law Scipio Aemilianus, he witnessed firsthand Rome's struggles. When tragedy struck and Scipio fell, Gracchus stepped into the breach, forging a peace treaty that saved countless Roman lives. And yet, instead of gratitude, he was met with scorn and betrayal. The Senate, a viper's nest of envy and ambition, not only rejected his peace accord, but blamed him for its failure. This early clash of wills would ignite a firestorm that eventually consumed the Roman Republic. Tiberius had his eyes open to a Rome in stark contrast to his privileged world. The heart of the Republic was rotting from within. Centuries of conquests had enriched a powerful elite at the expense of the common soldier. Small farms, the backbone of Roman society, were being swallowed by vast landed estates owned by a greedy aristocracy. Soldiers returning from battle often found themselves homeless and destitute, their reward for service turned to dust. Rome, the city built on conquest, was now a breeding ground for discontent as desperate veterans swelled its ranks. So, in spite of his noble birth, Tiberius Gracchus became a man of the people, literally. He was elected tribune of the plebs in 133 BC. This office was meant to represent the interests of the people before the Senate, and was the most important check on the power of the senators and magistrates of Rome. Witnessing the plight of the increasingly impoverished masses, he vowed to challenge the entrenched power of the aristocracy. His focus was agrarian reform, a radical idea to cap land ownership and redistribute seized territories to landless citizens. This audacious plan, aimed to revitalize the Roman heartland, would provide a sustainable livelihood for struggling farmers and a steady supply of soldiers for the legions. But his noble intentions were met with fierce resistance from the powerful landowning elite who saw their wealth and influence threatened. As the Senate of the Roman Republic was a fortress of privileges, understandably it was unyielding to any reform that jeopardized their power. The divide between Gracchus, now a champion of the people, and the aristocracy widened into a chasm. When his fellow tribune, Marcus Octavius, blocked his land reform, Gracchus resorted to a drastic measure, forcibly removing him from office. A political earthquake followed. Gracchus, wielding the power of a tribune, brought Rome to a standstill. Temples and markets were closed, essential services ground to a halt, and the city teetered on the brink of chaos. The populace, caught between a rock and a hard place, grew restless as food supplies dwindled and tensions soared. The Senate, however, was a master of political maneuvering. It countered Gracchus's reforms with a cynical ploy, a land commission with no teeth. With practically zero funds, the commission was rendered impotent, a hollow victory for the people. But fortune, or perhaps fate, intervened. The death of Attalus III of Pergamum, a rich Greek city-state, presented a golden opportunity. Attalus bequeathed, or rather was forced to leave his kingdom, to Rome, and Gracchus seized it all to use for his land reforms, but thus defying the law. This audacious move was a direct challenge to the Senate's authority, but a lot more alarming to the senators was the fervent following Gracchus had cultivated among the people. His populist rhetoric had ignited a firestorm of support, transforming him into a potent political force. The Senate, once the unchallenged rulers of Rome, now faced a formidable adversary who threatened to upend the Republic's very foundations. The specter of monarchy loomed large once more. Rumors swirled of Tiberius Gracchus draped in royal purple like the kings of old. His grip on the city tightened with each passing day, his populist fervor igniting a fervent following. The Senate, alarmed by his overreach, sought to clip his wings. Gracchus had brazenly flouted the law by ousting his fellow tribune, a power grab that could not be ignored. Now, as his term as tribune drew to a close, he sought to be re-elected, of course, which was unusual although not unprecedented. The stage was set for a final, bloody confrontation. As Gracchus campaigned for re-election, his rhetoric grew increasingly radical. His promises of shorter military service, expanded jury rights, and citizenship for loyal allies ignited a fervor among the plebeians. These reforms, while seemingly progressive by modern standards, were abhorrent to the Roman aristocracy. They threatened to dismantle the carefully constructed edifice of patrician power. Sensing the impending doom, the Senate moved to crush the populist uprising. As the senators convened to judge Gracchus's actions and decide his fate, a menacing crowd gathered in the streets. Tempers flared, threats flew, and the Republic teetered on the brink of chaos. Then, in a shocking act of violence, the senators resorted to brute force. Tiberius Gracchus was murdered in cold blood, killed with stones and other blunt weapons, and his body cast into the Tiber to erase any trace of his defiance. This was a grave mistake. The ensuing riots of the people shook Rome to its core. So, in a bizarre twist of fate, the Senate, fearing for its own safety, were forced to enact many of Gracchus's reforms. The seeds of change had been sown. The Republic was irrevocably damaged, its institutions corrupted by violence and compromise. From now on, power in Rome gradually shifted from noble families to the people, and especially the army. The people learned that they were much more powerful than the senators, and the soldiers learned that they could control the factions that in turn controlled the Senate. The path to civil war was now clear, leading in 49 AD to the rise of Julius Caesar and the collapse of the Roman Republic. Perhaps the Republic would have fallen with or without Tiberius. Or maybe, if they wouldn't have killed him, Tiberius would have grabbed all of the Senate's power anyway. We'll never know for sure. But we do know that this event marks the Republic's downfall and led to the creation of the Roman Empire. But what do you think? Was the Senate entitled to take action? Or was Tiberius Gracchus legitimately defending the people of Rome? Let me know what you think in the comments downstairs. Don't forget to subscribe for more wild stories about the twists and turns of history. If you like what you saw, perhaps you might want to visit my Patreon page. I do want to thank my long-standing patrons Dan and Lawrence Neal for being my fans for years now. In the meantime, I do hope to see you next time. Bye.